Hello there! Welcome again to another episode of Devs and Diaries. Oh man, Michael, how long has it been? I'm your host, Farhan. I forgot to even already mention who I was. I just went into you. I'm Farhan, and we're both developers at Jackbox Games, and I'm joined with my co-worker, Michael, who I've already messed up the intro.
I was just seeing how long you would go.
This
is Devs and Diaries. We play games, answer your questions about the game development process or life in general, and yeah. As Farhan said, we both work here, so it's very official. And at the end of the show, we will try to coalesce what we have learned over the course of the show into a nice, concise diary entry, which we will put into our shared private diary, but also please watch the show.
And that is the main thing, is that what was the last time? I think the last time we started talking about What was it? I remember what we talked about. It was like
there was meat involved.
It was accepting.
There was meat involved, and we shut that down
immediately. Immediately. Oh, up top. Can I just?
Wow.
There we go.
Wow.
Right
that
there.
that came right off the dome.
That was off the dome. Listen, man, I'm gonna hit you with some tracks right now.
Wow. Well,
just,
speaking of the dome,
fat beats.
Speaking of the dome, I think I have a fantastic first game for us.
Oh man! Oh! Is this the segue is this the legendary segue that I was told about?
Yes. For the first game, we were thinking of playing a personal favorite of ours that doesn't get as much screen time as other games, Zepal.
Yeah, it's weird that physics games, I'm a big fan of the physics games, honestly. Like, that's why I love Zepal so much. That and the little screaming that they do every time. There's something about it that's like weirdly, it's like weirdly endearing that they're just like screaming around.
I mean, you did add physics into Trivia Murder Party 2.
Yeah, right? A lot of it was
Yeah.
based off of Zepal because like Zepal is also pretty much circles, and the Pegs game is pretty much all circles too.
Yeah.
Like Zepal the immediate successor to Zepal, oddly enough, is TMP2's Peg game. Like, you would never think that it's just like, oh yeah, you made a sling shoot game, right? Oh, here's what it is. It's now Pachinko.
Yeah. Well, we can't say that.
Can't say. Oh, working titles? Absolutely not.
No, I meant Pachinko. They're gonna come for us.
Oh,
yeah.
Pachinko. Listen, all right. I think Bob Barker has bigger things going on.
That's hopefully true.
Is Bob Barker still alive?
Yeah, I don't want to speak disrespect on his name if he is no longer with us.
Well, I mean, we're not saying disrespect. I'm just saying I think he has better times. If he's up there with JC, I think he still has better things going on than like worrying about Pachinko legalities.
James Corden.
James Corden? What about him?
I was just thinking of JC names.
JC. Oh, there's also Justin Timberlake. He's my favorite. It's Justin Timberlake, but this time with a big chin.
Wow, what an image. So if you have questions for us, feel free to ask them in the chat. We will get to them. Anything about development here or our games or anything like that. Also, yes, the game is on screen now, I believe. Yeah, you're in, right?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, okay. You're in.
If
you want to play Zepal with us?
And honestly, just hang out.
Oh yeah, go to the Discord for the room code.
Yep.
I forget to plug that, but people are already in. Sorry, should have said that sooner.
It's pretty much a direct line to us, and I don't know why you would want a direct line to us, but now you can talk to us, so that's kind of fun, right? Maybe, I don't know, talk to us.
Those little avatars in the lobby was one of the last things to go in, and oh my gosh, they're so fun. The like avatars getting like swept up.
You know, I also really love. I love the wrapper for this game. It's so fun. There's something about that, like, stadium vibe where you. Oh, excuse me. That stadium vibe where like people are cheering, and then you have like these people that are scared out of their minds and being thrown around. It's like everything about it is so wonderful.
That tween of the avatars going into the portal, Evan made that.
Really?
Evan made that. I think it might have been one of the last things that Evan has programmed for these games, unless I'm just unaware. But yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, Michael, you also have a little bit of experience with this game, right? Like, Evan's not the only one who's programming for this game.
True. I did. This was in the first party pack that I worked on. And I actually started as an intern here in 2018. 2016, as this game. So when I started it must have been June. This game, Zepal was a turn-based strategy game. And then over the course of the 3 months I was here, it transformed into the real-time action game that you know it as today. So it was like, many meetings of like, oh no. Mike Zuba, one of the lead engineer on this game, basically made a build where so basically each player would take a turn, fling once, and then the next player would go fling once, next player would go fling once, and then all of the enemies would take a turn, and then it would continue on that way. So it was much more like pool.
Yeah.
And Zuba made a build of the game where instead of going one at a time, everyone just went all at once, and everything was broken, but like everything was just moving. And the amount of fun we had in that one build, we were just like, oh no, like we have to, like we can't make the strategy game version of this. Like we have to make the real time version.
And man, I can't believe you guys pulled an audible like.
It
literally
was so late. It was so
before
the
end of production.
It was really cool to see everyone kind of rally behind the. Oh man, I just died. It was really cool to see everyone rally behind the idea, and it was, one of those things. The dying animations, and then. The scrolling left to right, I think, is something that intern Laura made. This left to right transit thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
I love the chaos in this game so much. Like not only do you have people screaming all over the court, like even if you just like grab the stick and just throw it in any direction, you're bound to hit something. It's just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's.
Oh, we have one alien left. Come on.
This is a co-op game, right? I actually haven't even played Zepal that much because typically you need more than one person. There is actually a solo mode in this game.
It's one of the few games that Party Pack 5 was good for solo games. We had both Jack and Zepal. Let's see. So yeah, the basic mechanic here, if you haven't played before, is usually first attacks on the aliens will change their color to a specific player who has to then finish them off. So like now, so now that blue character has to be the one to finish this alien off, if that makes sense. Which is a mechanic we added later on.
Right.
And you can be revived by anyone just hitting you.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And now
okay. See, because I've only played this game in solo, so I always thought that once you die, it was just over.
Nope. Yeah. You can. Let's see. We do need to coordinate the final blow of this. Okay. So is this me?
No, it's purple.
Oh! There we go.
Oh, nice hit. That was a peggle shot.
That was great. And also that camera zoom in thing was another thing that Zuba added. Like the way that the camera works in this game is pretty interesting because there's the screen shake going on.
Yeah.
It's actually a container in the top level FLA of like.
Oh yeah.
It's just like 4 frames that it'll like loop between. It's pretty interesting.
Is that what you used as inspiration for your?
I use that as inspiration, although I didn't take it directly.
Okay. So the other day, Michael, we were just.
Ashley, that's in your head. I didn't put that evil.
What?
We got a healing rift. Oh, wow, people are dying. Oh, explosions are happening. Oh, no.
I lost.
Let's see.
I feel like some of the best features come from just like messing around. I'm sure that the screen, I wonder if the screen shake was just kind of in a similar vein. The other day, Michael came up to me, he was just like, hey, come over here. You gotta check this out. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And he's just like, look, okay, I was supposed to be doing other things, but I made this screen shake. You wanna check it out? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was just this really violent screen shake. He's like, listen, watch when I do this command. And it was just like,
yeah, the entire game is, that's the most fun stuff for me to work on in games is like come check this out, like that kind of a feeling of like I want to show off to the other people who work here a cool idea. Oh wow, that one bomb just killed 2 of us. That was.
I feel like a lot of game dev is just that though. Like I feel like some of the most prominent ideas, at least I've ever heard in multiple game devs, not just us, is something that's just like, I thought this would be cool, so I decided to just make it, and then it ended up being cool. Like Overwatch was basically that. Overwatch,
really?
Yeah, Overwatch kind of started like that too. It was sort of like I think this would be cool, and then they just sort of made a proof of concept, and then it kind of ended up working out like that. If I remember the story correctly, I think even Destiny was like that too. Because what was that one book that we read? I think it was like.
Oh yeah.
Was it Blood,
Sweat, and Pixels? Yeah.
Highly recommend Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, by the way.
Jason Schreier book.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's very good, especially if you're trying to get an inside idea of how game development works.
Alien. Someone get this.
This G-dang alien.
Someone get him.
Actually, honestly, I think we're the aliens, no? Because we're the ones that got abducted.
I guess, yeah, actually by...
See, that's the political commentary that we needed in this game.
I didn't think
Who
about
are the
how-
aliens, really?
Yeah, I didn't think about the satirical angle. That's not me.
But, yeah, no, like, I'm pretty sure if you read Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, it gives a good idea. I mean, heck, I learned a lot from that book, too. Even as someone who's in game dev, I was like, oh, wow. You know, some of your favorite games, when you see how they're made, you're kind of shocked. But yeah, I think in Destiny they were talking about where some of the Bungie devs, I forgot the name, but there was a Bungie dev that was just like, yeah, I had this idea while they were working on Halo, I think it was like Halo Reach at the time, and they were just like, yeah, I have this idea, and it ended up spawning into Destiny. Like, it ended up being basically the baseline for Destiny, because that programmer just ended up going nutso, and then it became its own project and its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, the people in the studio being excited about the project is like I think the number one indicator that you're onto something good. Like if other people you work with want to spend their time on the thing, and just totally ran into that explosive. Wow, Dr. Beats or Highlighter G, please help save us.
That arc was almost perfect. Oh no.
Oh, we got it. We totally got it.
So do you remember any of the other design decisions that went through this game? Because you were an intern at the time, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. When the game was turn-based, there was a lot more strategy involved, right? Like you only had a single fling to kind of spend. So like the individual enemy abilities mattered a lot more. Now it's more just like, you just need to survive. Yes. Boom, another wave complete. It's always me last. So far, it's been me. I'm the MVP.
Well, I have a particular knack for dying. I don't want to brag or anything.
And so it was a lot of Zuba and Mark coming up with enemy types, coming up with like equipment types. So there's like stuff that'll change what your fling does, or like healing riffs and these kinds of things. And most of that stuff was kind of in place before the transition to real time happened. One of the things that actually did go in later is like whether or not stuff should be color coded, like this equipment pickup. So this health area that if you fling through you get healed, for example, you had to be a specific player color to unlock that, or to activate would be a better word, to activate that healing rift. So that was one of the things that makes the game a lot harder, but we found makes it so that you get some of the intentionality that the turn-based version had, even though you have essentially unlimited things. Because it was this balancing act of like, well, we don't want to slow the game down to the point of the whole turn-based thing, but people were kind of just like mindlessly flinging, and for the most part, I think people probably still do. But having like color-coded equipment pickups and like having to finish enemies off by matching color for their final blow, those two things kind of help it be a little bit more intentional, or help motivate players to be a little bit more intentional with this thing. At least that's the idea. I still think that like once you get over a certain player count, pretty much people just fling it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of like, to be honest with you, it is kind of fun to just fling. You know, like
Yes.
oddly enough, it is weird. It is hard to balance like trying to keep people's attention as well as like making sure you have a fun mechanic. I think a lot of games, like there's a lot of games that have really cool mechanics, but then decide to maybe complicate them a little bit too much or over-explain them rather than just be like, okay, let people just do whatever they want, and then kind of sort of embrace that. It almost felt like a lot of the development cycle in this game was like, oh, okay, so let's see how this game plays. Is this fun for everybody?
It was
And
one
then
of those like
adjust.
yeah, it was one of those times where it's like, oh no, really, this is, you know, players are just having more fun with it this way, and it wasn't the way that we had intended it initially, but you know, rule of cool, baby.
No.
Cool. Rule of cool. It's cool. It's that's the phrase. I think that's me. No, it's not. Another design decision is so you can only fling once, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you hit something, you can fling again. And a design decision does the thing you hit have to be an enemy, or can it be anything? And we made it anything. But at some point in time, you only got your fling back if the thing that you hit while in the air was one of the enemies. So it was a bit more strict.
Really? Okay.
Orange, finish it off.
You got it.
Oh!
Bang!
Yeah! Beautiful.
Cross the map.
Wow, that was great. Yeah, the zoom in and the time slowdown.
Yeah.
When it's the last enemy and it happens even if it's gonna miss. Like if it's close enough.
Yep.
It triggers the whole slow-mo thing.
I wonder, does it do the calculation, like the arc calculation in advance, or is it more of just
I
like
think
as
that there's
we
just
approach it?
I think that there's just a bigger trigger around all of these enemies,
Mhm.
and if you go inside the big trigger,
Then it's
it's like then it does the check. Are there any other enemies left? If no, and you're the color that would actually kill this thing, then do the slow. Well, we call it bullet time, but as many games do. But
have you ever played Peggle?
yeah,
This game reminds me a lot of Peggle.
Yeah,
like in a very endearing way. It's like Peggle, but a little bit less tactical. in that sense
way more
where-
chaotic.
Yeah, because it's just like it is like a lot of bumping around and then trying to get the right bumps, but at the same time, like especially that bullet time moment reminds me a lot of Peggle. Like if you ever want to clench harder than you've ever clenched in your life, play Peggle and then get to the last peg. Get to the last peg and make like a Hail Mary shot. You will cry, scream, you will believe in God, and it's like the best thing ever. It's one of my favorite things. Especially Peggle 2. Like, Peggle 2 is, to be honest with you,
Yellow Mad Rat.
Mad Rat, it's all you!
Yeah.
About... no, it's coming!
Again? Oh, dang.
Alright.
Oh, is that me? Oh, that might be me. No!
No, I'm gonna hit that. I gotta hit it. Blue!
Blue. Dr. Beats!
Give him the jungle beat!
Dr. Beat!
It's all you!
Yeah! Dude.
Oh.
Gauntlet complete. Where did the term Zepal come from? That's a good question. I think I can tell you that Zuba Bucks came from Zuba Bucks earned. That's just Zuba.
That's just his name.
That's just his name.
That's it.
That's just his name. But I don't know where Zepal came from. I think that there must have been just a meeting where they came up with made-up words.
I think so. There was a point where we talked about Zepal Dome in some sort of studio meeting, and it was probably one of the most confusing conversations I've ever had.
Because so much jargon.
Because I joined way later, right? So I joined in Party Pack 6. Oh, I guess maybe not that way later. Yeah, listen,
6 months
way later.
So much later.
Listen, all right, I was a different person. I was a complete. But when I came in, I was just like, oh yeah, I think somebody asked, it's like, oh yeah, where did the term Zepal come from? I think it was one of the fans that asked, and it was the most confusing answer I've ever heard. It was like, yeah, well, you got the Zepals and the Zoopals and the Bippals and the Bapples, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this means. I'm just gonna mute this chat. Like, I have no idea what's happening. It's talking about. I don't think none of it exists, obviously, but I don't think any of these are even what.
Yeah.
Oh man. Is that medium? No, I think that was easy. I don't think we wanted to do medium.
No, we don't. Absolutely not. The game gets very hard. And we know how many people finish the game, and it's not a lot. Not a lot of people get all the way to the end. So if you want to be part of a select club, all the way to the end of the 4th difficulty. I forget what the name of it was.
And we'll know. Trust me, we'll know. Fire. It does not, but we'll know. Man. But there's actually some questions.
There were some questions submitted.
Yeah, there were some questions that were asked. Also, if you don't, feel free. If you're just joining us, this is Devs and Diaries. We ask your questions. We're game developers here at Jackbox Games. We program. We do other things too. We help design things creatively sometimes. But part of design teams. Sometimes we putz around with sound and art too. So we know a little bit about everything. So if you have a question about anything, we're the everything guys. Not really, but hey, ask us anything you want. And if
we're all Jackbox Games needs.
Yes. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. And then on top of that, if you think of a question in the interim, when we're not in front of your faces, there's a Google sheet. Look up Devs and Diaries on our website, and there's a Google form that you could drop a question.
And we're now going to answer some of the questions from that Google form.
Hey-oh, segue. First question says, hey guys, have you ever felt like you're accomplishing less than someone, or that you haven't done enough substantial or amazing things in your life to say that you're doing well so far? I've been feeling like this for a while now, and I want to know what you've done to cope with that.
Yeah, I think that I'm a person who is motivated much more by satisfaction than by happiness.
Yes.
And I think that the two are not necessarily at odds with each other, but in life, I feel like there are often choices to be made between the two. Like I could either, go to a party on the weekend or work on some side project or something. Those are two options I have available to me on a Saturday or something. And I often pick the latter instead of the former. So in that, I think the answer is just that, enough is never enough, and you really cannot base your self-worth on the stuff that you make. You can't. Because and if you do, then it's just a recipe for disaster. No one, there's no level you will reach that you're like, finally I have made it. That goalpost will always move. And if you talk to people who are much more successful than either of us are in either the games field or acting or composing or music production, whatever, no matter what height you get to, there are people who feel the same way that I still haven't done enough. Yeah. I haven't accomplished enough, and I'm my work isn't worth anything. And the answer is that you need to have other metrics for success. Success is something you had to come up with on your own.
It's very difficult. It's actually interesting that we're getting this question, because the weird part about it is this is something that I was struggling with for literally the last 3 weeks, especially while we're just cranking away at trying to get the next pack out.
Right, yeah, trying to get the next party pack out, yeah.
Oh, I constantly felt like I wasn't doing enough, or I wasn't doing anything amazing. Honestly, I felt terrible. And I think a big part of that is what do you do to cope with it is recognizing that where you are in your mental state. I think a big part of that is recognizing that, hey, I am not in the best mental state, and I'm attacking myself. Because in that state, a lot of the times you're in the attack mode because you feel like you need to do more. So you're oh, okay, you're gonna start picking apart all the things you're doing to find a reason as to why you feel the way that you feel.
Your brain is not an objective viewer of itself.
Bingo. Yeah.
It will not always act in its own best interest.
No, not at all.
So you have to recognize when you're putting it's weird the level of agency you do and don't have. It's you just have to try to put yourself in situations where you can trust yourself a little more, or recognize the situations where you know you're not trustworthy.
Yes, and if you feel yourself in that moment, you gotta break yourself out. I feel like the biggest part about coping with it, I feel, is being able to recognize it first. Is just jumping in and be like, oh crud, I'm in a place where I'm not evaluating myself properly, and I gotta leave.
And this is something you're gonna run into in every creative field, where like people are motivated by like obscure, harder to measure things like passion or whatever that means, often people sacrifice their health for things that you shouldn't do that.
No.
Do that.
I'm guilty of that constantly. So
Right. And these are all sliding scales. It's not, you're going for some sort of happy medium, not porridge too hot or too cold, but in the middle, perhaps a Goldilocks zone of sorts.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And if it makes you, if whoever asked that question, if it gives any solace, you see us in front of you, and honestly, me personally, I constantly struggle with that myself. So it's just like, it's a thing that's like very rampant in people. Like, I think as humans, we're always trying to get more and more and more. So we always think that we're not doing enough, which is unfair, honestly.
Yeah, it's unfair to yourself, right? Yeah. What games do you set up for yourself to play in terms of like life?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's mostly just a balancing act, right? It's just trying to make sure that you are okay with what you're doing, I think. And that's, I think, very hard, especially in like pandemic times. It's very hard too, because we're looking at ourselves and just like picking apart our psyches constantly.
Ooh, having a video preview of your own face for hours a day, not great.
Ooh, it
not
hurts.
Great for mental health.
Yeah.
Like,
sitting on a Discord call.
Why are we doing that?
Ooh, it's sitting on a Zoom.
Plastic surgery rates are skyrocketing. You know why? Because people are staring at their own face the whole time.
When do you ever stare at your own face? That's the most like, I hate it. I never have a mirror in front of my face. No. I never knew the thing.
Get that out of here.
I didn't have it's the most ridiculous thing. So like, even these days, it's harder.
I got pimples on my face. I'd rather not know.
Absolutely.
Ignorance is in fact bliss in that case.
In some cases, absolutely. You can't look at yourself in a magnifying glass, a microphone glass. That's what we're doing.
There's a magnifying glass in one of the Party Pack 8 games. You might just have to play that one.
Oh my god, but there's a microphone glass in, I'm not gonna, I don't know. I got nothing for this second.
There's a question, YouTube 101, about why the extension doesn't support some audience features. And I believe it's complicated Twitch terms of service stuff about user authentication, or like being able to track back to, like, it's complicated is the short answer. And it's not just like, we want it to work with everything, but there's like, some sort of Twitch terms of service about like when user input happens, it has to be present on screen or like creditable to the user who did it. It's annoying. So that's why. There was another question.
Yeah, there was actually one more, and it says, can the devs talk about the Jack principles when it comes to user interface guidelines? How has this created a more balanced set of games for Jackbox? That's something AAA studios struggle with still. Jackbox doesn't. I didn't add in the last part, they did. So.
Thank you for thinking that we don't struggle with user interface design at all.
Oh yeah, we struggle.
We are the standard. We're flawless.
We're the best. We out here. Oh, what's the DJ call it? We the best.
We're the best music.
Go buy yourself a house. Go buy your family a house. You're smart. You're loyal. Yeah, I appreciate that.
What is it? Major key?
Oh, what?
That's just a phrase that he used.
Oh, right. Isn't that high key, low key, major key, minor key?
We're talking music.
Now we're talking about Wrecking Ball in G minor. So check that out.
So the Jack principles. I'm kind of surprised that people know about the Jack principles. I guess that must have been mentioned at some point. The Jack principles are essentially a philosophy document that was made a while ago while the company was still Jellyvision Games, I believe, or perhaps it was working underneath the Jellyvision umbrella at that point.
Yeah.
But it's essentially a design doc that talks about the philosophies for the host VO, making the game appear like it's really reacting to what the user is inputting. And I think that the early Jack games are really great at pushing that envelope for people, of being like, oh wow, the game is really aware of what I'm providing it as a user. And obviously those philosophies have pulled through into our modern games.
Yeah.
Like that is still the host responding to user input is like a core tenet of what we do.
Yeah, I think in the doc, I think one of them says like creating awareness or maintaining awareness or something.
Yeah.
So that's like, I kind of think that's like, there's like 2 points to that. One is kind of the host is reactionary, right? The host is kind of trying to make it, all of our games are designed to make it sound like the host is actually reacting to you and is a person that's in the room, right? I think a lot of our design principles revolve around the fact about revolve around being in the room, you know? It's either, you know, we know that our games are party games, so how are you going to maintain an environment that not only are you trying to give the players information, but then also have this host that's kind of, you can tune in and out of, that can give you the information, but also you want to be able to be a part of your own party. So it's like a big part of that is like, I think the maintaining awareness is like, there's twofold. There's the awareness of the host, but there's also the awareness of the player. It's, you're trying to make sure that the player feels involved. They feel like they're part of the universe. They feel like they're part of that little game for a second, but then also can be part of the people that they're playing with. It's not just a singular experience. It is like a group experience.
Yeah.
So, and the host is just someone that's hosting a party that you're a part of.
Yeah, and some hosts are more imposing than others. Like, the answer for the game feeling responsive is not always additional voice lines. And selecting when the host is silent in order for the room to be filled with the discussion that we generally know will be happening, that is also a intentional choice. Often, not saying that the games are perfect, but often it's an intentional choice to create that space where it feels, you know, aware in the sense that it's a conversation between the group that is playing the game and the host. And those are definitely things that we think about while placing VO, while recording VO, while deciding when VO is going to play. You know, things like that are still very much so thought about. I will say though that the Jack principles as a document, like it's still just a physical PDF on like that the company has. That they're not as oft referenced as they once were. Like they're around but I found them like several months ago, just like kind of while digging around on old files. Like it's not something that we like bring up or talk about, but the principles in it definitely still are like guiding the design sensibilities of the company. It's just not like the physical document of the Jack principles is not so much referenced. It's the messages in it are definitely still part of the design sensibilities, but it's at this point not like a living document. Now it's more of just kind of like a historical, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Historical documentation of kind of where the company was. Like about 10 years ago, I think, when it was written.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I started, I didn't even know about the Jack principles up until that individual asked the question. Like, I didn't even know the Jack principles existed.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea about the document. It was like, that was a refresher for me. But
Right.
I think a lot of it is like you kind of pick that up, and it's kind of inherent to our design principles throughout a game. Like, you go through a game and you kind of get and now that Jackbox is kind of established too, you kind of get an idea of how our games work and all that stuff, and like what kind of things make a Jackbox game. And I think the Jackbox principle is that document was kind of the originator of that.
Yeah, I think you can really see how especially the You Know Jack series is guided by those philosophies. Like it's really evident. And speaking of,
oh yeah,
we did make a You Know Jack game.
Oh yeah, we
somewhat
did.
Recently.
You know, it wasn't that long ago. How many party packs ago was it? I mean, it feels like ages.
1 or 2.
That was
perhaps 3.
Listen, I think that was before my time. That was some years before my time. I tell you.
Slipped into a draw.
Yes, let me tell you, that might have been. I'm just a youngin'. And this is.
Well, we thought because we got a question about the Jack principles, which is really cool that people even know about them, honestly.
Yeah.
We thought we would see, I would say, the most apt application of those principles in a game we've made recently, which is You Know Jack Full Stream.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if there was a game that ever embodied the Jack principles, it's the one with the title in the name. You know what I mean? Like you gotta.
And it also like yes that, and also I think it in terms of
not a joke to
giving
really
the appearance of total host responsiveness, this game just does it very well.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's mostly credit to, I would say, Ryan DeGiorgi.
Yeah.
I think he did most of the flowcharting for this.
And that's
Yeah.
the fun part about that actually is like, I think the biggest game that probably
Go to the Discord for the room code.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Discord.
I will always forget that, Michael. Thank God
Hey,
you remember this stuff. But that's I feel like another game that's probably not You Don't Know Jack that really embodies that sort of principle of host awareness was role models. Like the whole design principle about role models was, hey, we are trying to make a sort of like an AI that determines what you do, who you are.
We were basically trying to replicate Arnie.
Yeah.
We were trying to replicate Arnie as a host because Arnie made the early play sessions of that game so fun.
Mm-hmm.
We were just like, oh, we just have to make Arnie.
And
we just have to make Arnie.
Literally, yeah, if we're talking about Jack principles, I feel like that game might be the most, I mean, it's a game I worked on, but
we need Arnie principles.
We need Arnie principles.
Arnie principles starts with be tall.
Second thing is have a booming voice.
Booming voice.
Third thing is
So far it's all descriptors.
Yeah.
Wear glasses most of the time. Usually have a beard.
Improv chops.
Yep.
Heavy improv chops, specifically baby back ribs.
Yep. Usually wear a party pack t-shirt.
That's about right. And then also hard RPG. Like RPGs, any type of RPG you're into. That's role models really. That's just role models. No.
I was like, have a kid, name them blank, but I feel like that's weird and doxy. Like,
yes. No.
Right? I guess I shouldn't.
All right, let's move.
Oh man! If I ever have a
And
child,
his home address is.
If I ever have a child, and then you're like, "This is my child's," I'm hunt you down like an animal.
I guess I did give spoiler that Arnie has a kid.
Proper hygienic way to sneeze in public, as set out by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention.
Oh wow, this is a CDC question right off the bat. Oh, you don't know, Jack. Please stop it.
Listen, some could tell this is a timeless.
It has aged, like in weird ways. Like some of this stuff is still relevant, but also like I feel like everyone's gonna know the answer to it.
There's not.
Right?
There's no. Wait.
Oh,
okay,
no.
maybe not.
If you don't have a tissue
Everyone
on
but
hand,
YouTube
the
101.
CDC recommends
So YouTube 101, I think, is in a different age demographic, but hey, you know,
or
you're
just is.
so lame
Or-
when adults try to look
But
cool
dabbing
by
is
not getting
still
sucked
around.
everywhere.
Like people are
I
still
feel like
doing it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like you know dabbing if you don't know dabbing if you're too old or too young. Because there's that middle area where dabbing's not popular anymore. It's not fresh.
Buy yourself
No, it's
Nobody
not.
dabs
It's a
anymore.
stale meme. It's a stale meme for sure.
100,000%.
But yeah, I feel like everyone is supposed to know how to sneeze now, but whatever.
I mean, thanks to you remember back when there was so much anxiety for sneezing?
Yeah.
Or like sneezing or coughing in any sort of public space. It was just
I
kind of
still
like,
feel anxiety. If like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that didn't stop. That started in math, second grade. Honestly, like. Oh my God, what's happening? Hey, she won the Nobel Prize like you said. They're great. Oh, dude, I got this.
oh gosh,
I didn't answer.
It's so intentionally confusing. You don't know, Jack. Sometimes
See,
it's almost like it's the whole game.
Listen, would you say that it's insanely aware? I wonder. We were talking about like fourth wall breaking games before we started the stream, and that this game does a decent job of actually breaking the fourth wall. We were talking about like other games that break the fourth wall decently well.
Yeah.
Do you know? I do enjoy when games break the fourth wall. There's
Oh,
something
yeah.
about it that's like weirdly endearing.
I love it. Stanley Parable.
Yeah,
So good.
we mentioned Bennett Foddy, the Getting Over It is just. That one's just basically like a philosophy course for like a couple minutes when
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah.
I mean, he
You know,
is a
sometimes-
university professor on game design. Like
He is?
Yeah, he teaches, I think, in Australia.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
But I've watched a GDC talk. I think it was a GDC talk on the course he gives, and it's great. And so it's like, then when you play Getting Over It, it's just like, this is just a couple lectures.
Yeah, no,
this course.
it really is.
Yeah.
Going off of that question, crud, I didn't answer again. The fun thing about Getting Over It is that, whoever asked that question about like, or do you feel like you're doing enough? I feel like Getting Over It answers kind of that question too.
Yeah.
I think it gets very self-reflective on game design, thinking if you're doing the right decision and like kind of trusting your own decisions too.
Yeah. Trusting your own decisions, and also after you make those decisions, being okay that they're done now and you can't go back one way or the other.
Oh, that is the biggest thing.
That's like the whole like stoicism thing. We both read
Meditations.
for the
everybody gave me crap for it.
No, it was great.
That was Claire. I think that was Claire, right?
Yeah, or Claire gave you crap for it?
No, I think they were doing philosophy, and then I was just like, we should read Tao Te Ching, and everyone's like, ugh, I'm not reading that. It was just me, you, and Evan at one point.
It was just us three.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great book, though.
That's what I was saying.
I think about it incredibly often.
I highly recommend for anybody who's looking for some like very something Eastern philosophy. Tao Te Ching is one of the most, I think, one of the most influential books for art, but don't quote me on that. And it is wonderful. It's like if you treat it as like a religious text, sort of like in the same vein of like a Quran or a Bible or a Torah, then you have like kind of you'll get what you get from it rather than just like
It strangely feels similar to meditations to me, in that it is a tool. Like the words on the page are a tool to help you start thinking about things.
Yes.
And like, you have to project yourself onto the text in order to get something out of it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like it's an instructional book on how to do stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
like,
no, this will just, reading these words will get your brain thinking about a thing in a way that will help you maybe understand something that you are actually, like, that will help you give you those step-to-step instructions on a thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And sorry I cut you off with the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, but bringing it back there, like, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a big part of meditations too. Is that when you read that book and you read it with the context of that, hey, this is a book that is Marcus Aurelius's just diary, right? You see, because a lot of the times he contradicts himself. Because it's like you gotta stay in the middle path, but then you have points where he like hard questions whether it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that was what made the book more powerful for me, because it's just like you have this person who's supposed to be the prime example, or one of the prime examples, other than like Seneca, one of the prime examples of Stoicism, that's also failing at Stoicism. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. So not everybody's perfect.
Yeah, it was a meditation tool for him, right? It was like, it was never meant to be a book that was published. It was just, he wrote it for himself as a tool to think through these things, and now people read it as a tool, not as like a scripted text or anything.
Yeah, it's wild. Highly recommend it too. If you're going through some stuff and you just want to be like, hey, what did one of the last great emperors of Rome think for a little bit? It's a good thing to kind of humble yourself to be like, yeah, this guy had everything at the height of everything, and he's still like on his luck.
Yeah, and if you're worried you're not doing enough, and that's why you're unhappy, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, probably not super happy.
Oh, not at all.
Did all the things.
Not at all.
Did all the things.
Taking some questions from the chat. Not Satan, says, what channel has the code in it? It should be on your screen, and it's in our Discord channel if you want to join before the game starts. So join our Discord, check it out. We should have all the codes in there.
Yeah, what Discord channel is it?
Stream Discussion.
Stream Discussion is the Discord channel with the room codes.
And is there a US filter for this game? There is.
There is. I don't think it's on for this particular game. If you know, Jack doesn't have it on, but there is a setting for it.
Oh, there is not a setting for this one?
Not a setting for it.
Oh, that starts at pack 6? Really? Oh, never mind. I just lied. I need to be fired. This is ridiculous. No, it's I guess we only
started doing it in Party Pack 6, and for that we are sorry.
Yeah, but it should have it.
Oh no, I've been screwed with the fake terms of service. Dang it.
I don't know what this means. Oh, I have to scroll?
Yeah, scroll to the bottom and hit accept.
Man, this game is shenanigans.
Okay. I know what semantic satiation is.
I have no clue.
It's the last one.
Oh man.
It's when you say a word so many times that it ceases to mean the thing that the word means, and it just starts to sound like a sound.
Oh, like behooved.
Behooved.
Yeah, in my friend group, my buddies always says behooved, and what behooved is like you have like you're like inclined to do something, but
yeah, or it will no, it's like a gain, right? Or I mean, this is.
It behooves you to do this.
It behooves you to do
this.
Yeah, like something to gain out of it or something.
Something like that. But the way my buddy uses it is literally as like flavor text. It's just like if it's just like I was behooved, it's just like no.
Wait, no, you weren't. That's not.
No, you were not.
Get those typing fingers
I just
ready,
saw
because
someone's
the longer
Instagram
you
story,
take, the less
them
money you
playing
make.
basically
Okay,
gibberish.
focus up.
This
Check
basically
out
this gibberish question.
phrase and tell me what popular song
What is?
title it rhymes with.
Oh man, see.
I mean, we're not the first ones to come up with this, but
Bummer.
also.
And don't get hung up on
Maybe
that
we were.
punctuation.
Cruel bore, huh? Bummer.
It's a warm season.
Does it show what you write on the screen?
It's hints after the.
You're kidding me. How the heck?
Chilly.
How did I get it?
Well, you definitely put an answer in. I think that's the number of points you will get if you get it right.
Oh, there's no way. Oh man. What is my?
No way. No way, I get it.
What is our favorite Jackbox host? Oh, I don't even remember any of the hosts. What?
You don't remember a single host?
No, I mean I do, but not
do you
like.
mean?
Listen, all right, don't hate me. I just don't remember.
Cool for the summer.
Like,
I don't even know if that's a
Shitty.
phrase.
cool for the summer.
Have you ever heard those combination of words
I
back
heard.
to back?
I see.
I would say no.
I wrote, "Hey, are you ready for summer?" That's what I wrote. I was like, "Hey, how's it feel?"
I wrote "Feels Like Summer," which is a Weezer song that came out definitely after this game.
Oh, Spencer would love you. That was a Spencer comment.
Yeah, that was a Spencer comment. That's my that's my favorite host, Spencer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Favorite host.
Who picked what?
God,
I forgot to answer.
every time I hear "Cool for the Summer," I think of Demi Lovato's song. So was it? Oh man, what is it?
Levitating?
No, I can only think of the parody, which is "Poot for the Summer," and it's not "Poot for the."
It's called Cool for the Summer.
Cool. It is called "Cool for the Summer." It is. All right, never mind. Don't tell your mother. Cool for the summer. That's what it is.
Octopus Coffee, Queen Elizabeth, or
Octopus Coffee, Queen Elizabeth, or Frankenstein. Octopus Coffee, Queen Elizabeth, or Frankenstein.
This game is so weird.
Those are Dave doing all those 3D models.
Really?
Yeah.
That must have been one of the first times he did 3D. because I
Well,
don't think
he
the game had
did
3D
it
before.
in 3D and then exported it as a video, and then we just played the video.
Huh.
I mean,
Cool for the summer. Who would have thought?
who would have thought?
I don't even know. I mean, phrases are hard, right? Why are we even using phrases anymore? Oh, God, please. Frankenstein?
No way.
Was Mary Shelley Switzerland?
Ah,
Oh.
it was.
Okay.
Wow.
I guess that's fair.
Queen Elizabeth and Frankenstein. Yeah, no idea.
I would have never guessed, honestly. Where's Emily? Where is Emily?
Where is Emily?
She looks like she's in a hole. That doesn't seem fun. Might be a well. We gotta save Emily.
Emily's in the well. Well, unless a
people get
dog,
trapped?
unless a dog roams up to me and tells me that Emily is well, I won't believe it.
I mean, oh God, I don't know how those dogs have like well vision. How do they know that there's people in the well?
I know the answer to this question.
See Spotify, and I don't. You're over here being all learned and worldly. I don't know.
I'm in last place. I'm in last place. I know the answer to this question, and I'm in last place.
Now.
Stockholm.
Is it Stockholm?
Yeah.
I
I did apply. I would be like, yeah, I'd work.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem bad. Sweden seems pretty nice.
Yeah.
Why not? Or is that Denmark?
Visit sometime. Just don't be a dick
Where's
about it.
Stockholm? Netherlands. Is it? I don't know. Listen, there's some Scandinavian area that has Stockholm. No, don't look it up.
No. It's definitely
Sweden. Oh, it is Sweden. Dang it, I should have known. Oh, I'm not paying attention.
This is the tutorial.
Oh, this would have been easy. The Avengers are mainstream now.
Yeah, I know. They're not.
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows about Fungus and Hulk.
Hulk?
Yeah.
Is that the whole milk version?
It's a whole milk of Hulk. I'm so happy you got
wow.
there.
I'm just pulling that.
This is the only thing I know in this life. This and at the moment.
Allard is so disappointed. Chase.
Listen, all right? He just moved to Sweden. Give me some. You know, oddly enough, I looked up scuba the other day. My professor was a scuba diver. He used to talk about it constantly.
Whoa.
Yeah, he'd be like, oh yeah, you know, I always use a pencil because I take out my diving knife and then I sharpen it, and I'm just like, what does this have to do with software engineering? Oops.
Yeah, I don't know. Energy and application. I don't know.
Netherlands isn't in Scandinavia. Yeah, see, you know, I'm showing my hand. I might know a thing or two about Marcus Aurelius, but I don't know a dang thing about geography. I'll put it out there.
Yeah, Rome never. I don't even want to say that. I don't know if Rome ever encompassed that.
The thing is that it's just so much more fun when you don't know where you're going. Okay, I'm gonna be real, all right? I'm gonna be completely real. Alan. I don't know what this is.
I like to think of the version of your life where it's literally you just don't even know where you're going later today.
Constantly. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things is, unless I'm on a time schedule, it is not advanced, it's so surgical. The thing is that, so, highly recommend, if you have a time crunch, you gotta use the GPS, right? You gotta know where you're going. But if there's no time, honestly, don't pay attention to where you've been, don't pay attention to where you're going, and just live, baby. I'm telling you, it is the best thing. It is 100% the best thing. You will end up in places you never expected. It's great. You kind of just bumble around. You just let the wind take you wherever you want to go. I'm telling you right now, don't throw your GPS out. Turn your location services off. No one can find you, so you can find yourself. That's what I'm saying. It's the best thing to do. Get lost. Don't turn your phone off. I'm not telling you to turn your phone off. It'll still be reachable.
Have you seen 127 hours?
Yes, and he didn't have a phone. That's the problem.
Okay.
The problem is that, if I'm saying keep your phone. I'm not saying go completely off the grid. I'm not saying, all right, listen, we got to use solar panels. Don't let the government know where you're at. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that sometimes just enjoy it. We don't need to know where we're going, and it's an adventure. When you don't know it.
You know what? I think that there's some truth there. I must have destroyed you in the Jack attack because I wasn't last, and there's a now 5,000 point differential between the two of us.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's just because you're taking your time going wherever you please.
That's a lot about it. Yes.
I was worried about getting to the top.
This is
and
a
do you
time
see how much
attack.
higher I didn't get?
This is a time attack. And you know what? I'm not here for the destination. I'm here for the journey. And that's the biggest part.
You know what? I think that actually ties really nicely into the discussion about satisfaction because process is the product is a phrase that I've heard recently that I enjoy, which is like it's focusing less on the actual end like game, but more about the process that made it and producing that well. If you produce the process well, that's a stupid sentence, but
not really.
If you make the process good, the thing will be good and you'll have enjoyed the time you spent on it.
Definitely.
Both will be true. It's easy, I think, relatively speaking, to make the end product good.
Yeah.
Because you can, sacrifice yourself for the thing. But what did I say it was?
The process is
product.
The process is important.
No, I think it's just that the process is the product.
The process is the product. That's a lot of. It's a big part of it.
It's there.
I mean,
There's something there.
a lot of it is trying to make sure that if you're in a good mental space, you're able to perform to your highest ability, right?
Yeah.
So like a big part of it is like, yeah, for sure. Like the process is definitely the most important.
So let's open up our diary. Thanks so much for playing. Congratulations to Lambda for winning that.
Yeah, you absolutely, by a factor of literally 10 times the amount of money that I got. So honestly, Lambda, you killed me.
Yeah. So now it's time to open up our diary and write down what we've learned.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this podcast was a little bit more podcast. A lot of this stream was, and we got a little serious a little bit more in this one, but we talked a lot about like satisfaction and process and, you know, enjoying the journey and not like being too self-reflection is good, but not always. How about something like keep the self-reflection to the mirror?
Yep, that's a title. Mm-hmm. So, plastic surgery rates are at an all-time high.
Are they really?
Yeah.
That I didn't know. That I understand why, but it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. What is our lesson?
How about?
Is there a way that we can get the Jack principles in to discussion about satisfaction, but also make a joke?
Be aware that your Discord preview is inverted.
That's hilarious.
And for those who don't know, when you're on Discord, your Discord preview is flipped, and what everybody else sees is actually the flipped version. So you never see yourself properly, by the way.
That's a good sentence. You never see yourself properly.
By the way.
Yeah, comma by the way.
Comma by the way.
Wait, this is good. So it's like, if all you ever look at is the end product, you'll never see yourself properly.
Ooh, okay. How do we bring in the awareness, though? Because we talked about, like, the Jack principles, right? There's a lot about, like, maybe we don't need to.
Well, be aware.
Be aware. Drop the word aware in it, and it makes it applicable.
Be aware that if all you ever look at is the end product, you'll never see yourself properly.
I like that. Yeah. No, that's perfect. Because we're always focusing at the end and never working in the middle ground, never looking at the middle. Yeah, I like that.
I feel like this is actually not even that bad of life advice.
No, we're just, honestly, we're going away from the improv and just starting to give life advice.
Well, improvising life advice is, also improvising. It's just not terribly, ha ha ha, hoo hoo hoos.
Ooh.
Which is how I laugh.
Yeah, of course.
Ha ha hoo hoo.
Of course. Listen, I only laugh as a, 1800s commander.
What is that?
I don't know. It sounds like a general that would be like, ha ho ho. No, like a statesman. A statesman's a little bit better. Like English. It's like something from the Whig Party, or maybe the Tories.
The Whig Party.
Yeah, like if a
Whig, that's a deep cut.
Like if a Whig Parliament, like back when the Whig Party was started.
Presidents? Weren't there like 3 Whig presidents or something?
I don't remember the time period, but that must have been like what, late 18, early 19s.
Yeah.
But that sounds like something that they would do, like a ho 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 ho. yes.
My wig is a little off kilter.
Liberties for the British people. But
give me bobby pins or give me death.
There are no safety in these pins. All right.
There's only safety and liberty. Okay, well.
Now we're here.
Okay.
I like that, though. That you ever look at the end product, you'll probably never see your product. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. This has been Devs and Diaries, the weekly Jackbox Games show about whatever this was about.
Yeah, at this point, it was self-reflection and a little bit of life advice, but Thanks for joining us. And
Yeah,
we'll see you next time. And
will you be here next week? Do you want to do this next week? We can do it next week.
Yeah, I mean, if you want.
Yeah, okay, let's do it next week. We'll be back next week, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, feel free to look up Devs and Diaries. Jackbox.com, our blog, I think, has a question link. So if you want
there's
to
a Google
drop
form.
there's a Google form. If you want to drop a question in the middle and you thought of something and you couldn't answer it, or there was a question that we didn't get to, we'll definitely read all your questions and we'll definitely try to answer them if we can. So, yeah. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hopefully you're there.
Right.